Hello there, I'm Matt, and I'm the developer here on RPG Tycoon, and we've made it to 0.3, so this is just a quick video to kind of walk through of some of the new features that you can expect from 0.2. I actually updated the Steam build to 0.28, I believe, or 2.6 maybe, I can't remember, over Christmas, just to keep people kind of engaged with things. But if you haven't updated, or you've been away for a while, I thought I'd show you all of the features that have been added and kind of give, I guess, my view and my experience of them. Now, one of the things you might notice is that this mouse has just been updated. I've been wanting a custom cursor for a while. I just haven't managed to put one in. This is kind of a placeholder cursor for the minute. Gauging on feedback, I might change it. It doesn't change at the moment when you hover over buttons, which actually I'll bring straight onto that. You can see that we've got a brand new taskbar. I don't like these icons. I don't like the color of them. They're going to change fairly soon, definitely. But I wanted to try out what it would look like with kind of square buttons and just icons. Now, if you have played the previous update, or you haven't been living under a rock since 0.2, you'll have noticed current objectives that have been added into the game. Now, these are basically something you can turn on when you start a new game. And they give players, basically, a few of you have been giving some feedback saying that the game doesn't push you in the right direction. You need a little bit of help of knowing what to do to earn money fairly well, or kind of get some hints as to where you should start. So I kind of have placed a few of these in towards the beginning. They will develop over time, but for now they should be able to help you. So you kind of learn where to go and what to do. As well as this, actually, one of the specifically new features since the last update is I've been adding in tooltips. I figured, again, and just in more ways to try and give you guys feedback and help out on knowing what things do and how they work, specifically by hovering over things and just holding for a few seconds, you'll get these little tooltips pop up. Now, at the moment, they're only on selected items. I'd like to put them on kind of everything that needs them, kind of hovering over buildings and things like that, but I kind of just put them in place for the things that I think need the most help. So they're there for you should you get a bit confused. Try and hover over things and they'll help you out. For example, I think you can go into options, audio, and if you hover over kind of the audio sliders, they'll give you a detail of the percentage that things are on. Oh yeah, also there's an in-game options menu now. I've added that in. And controls have been added in. A few players complained or have experienced some issues with keys on the keyboard being broken. Now, really that's not useful if you have a specific key that you can't hit. So I've put in for a temporary fix for that at the moment, a very basic key command shortcut changer setting options, I guess. So for example, if the default would be backspace to kind of get out of roads and cancel buildings and things, but if your backspace key doesn't work, you can also use escape now. Excuse me. And essentially change keys should you want to create your own custom keys. Now, these will actually change to your save file, so you can have 3 saves with different shortcuts at the moment. I'm going to change that shortly to being universal for the game, and they'll save so every time you load the game up. But for now, hopefully just bear with me with that. Now there's a center button which I've put in because I have found myself sometimes scrolling too far over, and then you end up with a situation like this where you're kind of off screen. I will also limit how far you can put the camera, but if you do ever kind of get stuck or zoom in too far or too far out or whatever like that, there you go. If you hit C, you'll just recenter the camera. You can also use your arrow keys and the WASD keys to move around now, so it's specifically really useful when you're building and you want to place a new decoration. Decorations are now also in their own menu. You don't have to use a library to unlock the basic ones because you can now build benches and trees. And if I want to place this bench, but I want to place it all the way over here, I can. I'm just using WAS and D now to navigate through the world, and I can put a little bench up there. There you go. See, so that's on its own. I should really build a road. Now, another thing of me just responding to you guys, because again, what's the point of being on early access if I'm not giving you guys the feedback that it deserves? A few people have complained, not all of you, but a few people are concerned about the fact that the game is cruel to you should you run out of money. So if you're playing on easy or normal mode, you will be given a little bit of slack should you spend too much money. Now, I'm just going to plop a bench down, and fences also can go down. So I'll just quickly show you. If you hit the comma or period key on your keyboard, there's these new modular building types. So these are buildings or decorations that have specifically more than one design, and you can check it out here. It says last item and next item, comma and period. Again, you can change that in the menu, but I think you can. You might not be able to do that yet, but I'll make it so that you can. So you can't flip these items, but you can rotate through the different types of them. So they're in there like that. Now, if I buy one more, I've now spent all of my money, and hopefully, should things go well, no money left. Oh no, well done. You've completely decimated your kingdom's budget. So basically, you'll cut some slack by your neighbours and essentially given a little bit more money to keep you going. I was teething on the idea of whether to add that in or not. I might take it out of the normal mode and only leave it on easy, but it depends on what you guys feel. But if you play on hard difficulty, there's no break whatsoever. If you lose your money, you are out of the game. So hopefully that cheers a few of you up. Now, I'm very aware of some of these depth issues. I've tried to fix a few of them, and in some circumstances there's something really strange going on, and I will look into this as much as I can. I could try and fix these, and I could spend hours and hours trying to fix these little graphical glitches and things like that, or I could spend the time adding more content into the game. So I hope you understand that if they're game-breaking bugs, I will try my hardest to fix those, because you know, they really stop gameplay. I have managed to fix one of them, which was an issue being caused by the 450 800 resolution game. That should now have been fixed so that when you open menus in that game mode, it shouldn't crash anymore. Fingers crossed. You'll have to let me know, but I know that was a specific issue for some people, so that has now been fixed, I believe. And that's more or less some of the, you know, the updates to the resolution things. The positioning has also been fixed by a lot of these objects. I've managed to kind of crack down on the code as to why they were kind of offsetting really weirdly at different resolutions. They now should roughly sit all in the same place. Obviously, different resolutions have a little bit of difference, but you should now be able to play this at kind of any resolution, and the objects appear on screen properly. So that's kind of the admin-based stuff. As for content, there's a lot of new content which you've already seen some of, which are these decorations. Absolutely awesome. I do love this. I'm going to be adding more and more. I love adding little decorations in. I think it's just such a nice little thing to do while you're waiting for me to kind of catch up and build more things content-wise for the game. You can sit and design some really awesome features. Feel free to post those in the artwork section. I'd love to see some of the cool little artwork that you might be able to do with these. So you can also build trees, I believe. Yeah, we've got trees here, and again, they're modular too, because there's different types of trees. I will be adding more of these as well, but you can just flick through them and place the type of tree that you want to place. I don't know. Oh, build it behind it. Good. Yeah, so that's all nice. Again, slight changes to the way that these design have worked. I built the bulletin board, and I really like the design style I went with that. I learned a few new things in the art style, so I'm trying to replicate that with some of the new buildings. I am going to completely redo this eyesore here, and try and bring it to this standard of work, because I don't know, I'm really proud of this little design. So yeah, but basically, if you place a bulletin board down, you then unlock bounties, which are a new feature, again, to just try and let you guys earn a little bit more money and work towards the new villain system, which I've also placed into the game. Now, all of these names are randomly generated, and at the moment there's only 2 sprites for each of their faces. Again, I'll be adding more of those, as well as some new characters as we work up to 0.4 now, because I really want to focus down on actually making the simulation style of the game and the content towards where we're going with this, and the quests and things like that, to be really much more in depth, because it's really starting to form itself now. I feel like we found our ground, and we're really pushing forward on that. So over the next month or so, I'm going to try and work towards kind of just stretching everything out that we've already got in place, and then adding on to all of these frameworks that have been put into place. Anyway, as I was saying, so bounties, they've expired. That shouldn't happen. Some of them do expire, and they don't refresh for another couple of days. That's something that happens. There are some... I'm trying to show you these things, and they're not work. Let's see if we can find one that works. Okay. There we go, right, okay. So what it looks, by the looks of it, they just haven't cleaned up from the bottom, okay. So some of them will be expired, but just scroll down to the bottom and you've got some that aren't. So you essentially just have to go to the place that you need to go to. So for example, Armenvale. It doesn't really matter at the moment what quest. It will eventually, but just pick a quest and go to Armenvale. and then assign Tara. Let's be thorough. Now, these drop downs will show you specifically what these mean, because again, I think it's fairly confusing. I'm trying to give you more feedback. That's really what I'm trying to do. So thank you very much for a lot of what you guys have said. It's really helping kind of shape some of the design choices in the game. Take your time. Again, these do affect, actually, I'm going to tell you a little bit of stuff. This essentially bases on the quest type you're doing and the settlement, and they do like and don't like stuff. I will be giving back the quest feedback section so you can improve your performance a bit more. I will be working more on the custom quests. I've kind of ignored them a little bit as we've gone into this update to work on the epic quest, which I will show you in a minute. So essentially, once you've managed to unlock your bounties mode, you then unlock this thing called villain tracking. Now, this is something I'm going to develop over the next few updates further and further. I like this idea that there are these unknown kind of presences in the kingdom, and you as a leader should be saving settlements and surrounding areas from these villains that are causing dastardly tasks and distress to your kingdom. So you need to send out your heroes to these locations, get them to do quests, get them on the side of your settlements, and help try and find these villains and take them down. So you slowly progress over time based on your discovery and infiltration. Now, at the moment, that's just based on the epic quest and the custom quest. Again, there'll be lots of different things you can do in the future, hopefully, towards improving this. These will be more and more detailed as we progress. But for now, you earn discovery, you then earn infiltration. Once they're at full, you can start earning conquest. And that's the progress you make to taking down the villain and freeing him of the land. I've added happiness into the game because of this. So in the future, at the moment, it doesn't really do anything. It's kind of just sitting at 100 quite nicely, but it's a placeholder for what is to come. There will be events that happen in the game that you will need to respond to, otherwise your kingdom happiness will go down. Again, I'll probably let it so it's optional, so you can turn them off, and there'll be time frames in which you can do these. I don't think it'll be harsh, because I personally don't like games that punish you just for deciding not to take part in a quest or something like that. I think that's a bit cruel, but there will be benefits and rewards to doing them, such as finding the villain a lot easier and things like that. So it might not be as punishable, but there will definitely be management things that you need to do to keep your kingdom happy and the people in your kingdom happy over time. So there's going to be some resource management, things like that I'm hoping to work towards as we get towards the next couple of updates. That's more or less it when it comes to content. I've added something into the epic quest, which is I'm taking a little bit of influence from FTL and Oregon Trail and those kind of games. The epic quests need to feel epic. They need to feel like there's some story going on, and it's really developing. Now, if you've done a few of them already, you'll know that there's kind of options and opportunities that pop up. So let's send Tara on one now. Away she goes. Right, let's speed through this. You're now presented with a choice, and essentially the choice you make has an effect, and you'll either succeed or fail that event based on your statistics of your characters and heroes. Some of that data will be filled in further down the line. There's a few things of the story events missing and things, but these are going to expand. I'm really looking towards starting to develop the competing kingdoms and actually drawing some competition, because at the end of the year you get drawn with some statistics about how well you've done. Now at the minute the enemy kind of, I say enemy, but the competing kingdoms that you have don't really have a presence, but I really want to have them to start to feel like they're shaping your world, and the effects that you're doing is also shaping theirs. So you'll be able to look at statistics from what they're doing and kind of look at what's working, where the most crime is, for example. So some of the settlements will be, during certain months, will have more to do, so you'll get more points for going to those ones versus going to one that there's not really a lot of crime going on, or there's no real quests to do, things like that. I really do think that that's going to be significantly important, and again, it will affect your happiness. So if you go to a kingdom that you go to a settlement that doesn't need that, then you're not going to get enough happiness from them, and that's essentially why all of this stuff is being put in place, and that's where we're heading. And some of the events you'll fail, and this is one of the events that has all of the story in already. I just feel like it kind of adds a bit more to it. Like I said, it's very influenced from some of the older games that I've played, and some of the other indie games that I enjoy playing. And I've also nerfed the difficulty of doing well in epic quests. For now, it's a lot easier to get 5 stars, a heck of a lot easier to get 5 stars, just due to because there's not so much to do. It's quite limiting, and again it was quite harsh, and you weren't getting a lot of resources for doing that and winning. Also, to try and help be a bit more useful, you can now demolish buildings. It's extremely experimental, and it might break things. I think you're still charged maintenance, but it's there to essentially get rid of stuff that you might have made a mistake. So if you've accidentally placed a fence in the wrong shape or style, you can now hover over them and get rid of them. I would advise against destroying buildings that you're functionally using, such as your small quarters, because that breaks the game, like I've just done. And very probably, well, it doesn't, but yeah, it's completely taken Tara out of the game. So yeah, it's not 100% functional, but it's good if you want to get rid of your decorative items, and it saves you some hassle. So use it sparingly, I would say, but it's there as a necessity if you need it. It will improve over time. I'm just trying to work out how to get it to work the best, and try and kind of gauge what the best tactic is. I don't want it to sit there. I kind of want it to have its own setting. I'm going to probably redesign this menu slightly and have it a bit more intuitive. There's probably a better way to do this, so I'll start kind of looking into redesigning that menu. But yeah, I mean that's more or less everything that's been changed in the game. Hopefully you can see that there's been some rather major differences in the gameplay, and additions to the game, and designs and things like that. And significantly, the bailout feature should be really useful to a lot of you, I hope, and the tooltips as well. I will be adding more of those in over time, so hopefully you'll be able to kind of hover over almost everything. You can hide those, by the way, by clicking on the objectives. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. So feel free to jump in, have a look around, give some feedback on what you like, what you don't like, and obviously yeah. So this is what happens when you delete stuff that shouldn't be deleted. It's rockety, I understand, and I appreciate that, but I do really appreciate a lot of the help that you guys have given already. Hopefully you can see the changes and the influences that you've already made to the game, and that is the whole point on being on early access in the first place. So all I can really say is thank you very much. And if you're going to EGX Res, I'll see you there. So hopefully there'll be another video between now and then, but still, I'm kind of working on getting a demo version available for that. So yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to me ramble and explain features to you, and I hope this is going the way that you guys were hoping for, and thanks for being with us on this journey. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you again very soon.